Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, we're going to be taking a look at another one of the Mythic Uniques, which is the new designation for the Uber Uniques, if you haven't found out. And they have their own special purple color, as well as their own purple beam that goes up into the sky. They used to be called Uber Uniques, now they're called Mythic Uniques. I don't particularly like the name, but I do. The color has grown on me. I do think it's neat to have a distinction in the color between the two. Now, Andariel's Visage is an interesting one that does have some stiff competition with the Harlequin Crest Shaco, obviously, but it does have some pretty interesting effects, and they've updated it quite considerably for the new season. As you can see right off the bat, we have 666 poison resistance. Never fear from poison again, basically, with this particular hat on. And on top of this, we also have 92 all stats. Now, I have masterworked this a little bit, so the stats are going to be a little bit higher than the base stats. And as you masterwork it, it's going to get better and better. It does start with a pretty decent amount of attack speed, but as you can see, with 5 masterworks, and I also got a 25% bonus on there, the masterworking has brought that attack speed up to a massive 43.5%. So quite the crazy attack speed helmet, just like the Andariel's Visage in Diablo 2, which is, I think, still to this day one of the best attack speed helmets that you can get in Diablo 2. The 12% maximum poison resistance is also rather welcome, just simply because it's obviously going to make that 666 poison res so much more useful, because that means your resistance to poison is going to just cap out. On top of that, we also have the life leech was changed. So it got changed from 500 for what was it, 2% life leech, I think it was 2% of your damage, to now it's 524 life on hit. So every single time you hit, you're going to get 524 life no matter what, instead of it being a percentage, which would vary depending on the character, the speed at which you attacked, the damage that your weapon was doing. So I guess it's going to be a little bit different now, and it's going to favor speed over higher damage hits, which is, I guess, okay. On top of this, we also have the Lucky Hit. Now, the Lucky Hit bonus, or the special effect, has actually been changed. My mouse doesn't want to stay put today. It's probably got Kuba's hair in it. The Lucky Hit has actually changed. It is actually now on the target instead of on you. So it used to be back in the original version, like the one, like before 1.5.0, before 1.4, I think, because they changed it a little while ago, is that basically when you get a lucky hit, it's going to put a poison, like Nova, around the target, not around you. And this change is pretty massive. So it's up to a 20% chance to trigger a poison Nova that applies 120,300 poisoning damage over 5 seconds to enemies in the area. And you can see this pretty easily if I just attack the target. You can see the poison Nova happen. It's not exactly the most pronounced effect, in my opinion. Let's see if we can make it occur. Of course, I got so many other things. Let me, just to make it more prominent, because Victimize is currently, like, stealing the show, I feel like. And, of course, I don't have it on, which is a classic GGM rookie mistake. And there you go. There is the Poison Nova, as you can see. Very, very clearly defined in size, but maybe not so easy to see when you're fighting like large numbers of monsters. However, when you're attacking large numbers of monsters, you're going to see many of these hits actually happen. So we're going to have like multiple lightning Poison Novas going off at any given time. And the amount of poison damage that you can get from these, as you can see, I'm at 2.5 million already. I do have access to, and this is 2.5 million, with Bane. I believe I'm using Bane, but it's not actually activated. And I do not have Tracker. So that is pretty insane when you consider the fact that I do not even have Bane and Tracker activated. That is just a lot of freaking poison damage. The fact that it happens at the monster instead of at me is actually huge too for anybody who's playing a ranged character, because instead of having to be up in the middle of the actual combat to cause this poison to happen, I can be, really far away. I can be, actually playing my ranged character the way it was designed to play, and still get pretty massive amounts of damage that way. It also has a flavor text on it, which is the horrific whispers of the maiden of anguish flicker through your mind, pushing you even closer to madness. And of course, Andariel's Visage is a throwback to, of course, the Andariel's Visage from Diablo 2 and Andariel, who guarded Act 1 as the boss there. You can get this in a myriad of ways. First off is the materials. So you can currently farm Resplendent Sparks through the reputation grind. The reputation grind will give you one at the end, and every single time you complete that, you're going to get one. And then on top of that, on top of the reputation grind, you're also going to get access to more Resplendent Sparks. Number one, by doing at least one Torment boss and completing it. Number two is Lilith, which is going to get you a third one. So if you do your reputation grind, do your Torment boss, and do Lilith, you can get three. And then you can actually grind out the reputation multiple times. So if you want to go back and you want to make a new character, you can do another reputation grind, and you can get a fourth one, and so forth and so on, and a fifth and a sixth for every single character that you want to create. Which means that it's well within your grasp to get a hold of. All you have to do is just complete a couple things, do a little bit of grinding, and sure enough, you're going to have yourself your own Andariel's Visage. Andariel's Visage is definitely a powerhouse item for damage output with that poison, and if you're scaling poison, like if you are a poison druid, if you are a poison rogue, those two characters are going to get really good use out of this because it's just going to give a huge amount of additional poison damage. The sorceress can also make use of this by basically allowing it to provide an additional damage type for the Talrash's ring, which is also pretty sweet. On top of this, the Bane and the Tracker glyphs are very effective with this particular item, as I talked about earlier. So the Bane glyph is the one that gives you a chance to double your poison damage, which is here. Yes. So poisoning damage effects have a 15% chance to deal double the amount of damage over their duration. So basically, instead of doing, what's rated on here, which is 120,300, it has a chance to just simply do 240,600, which is going to be a hell of a lot better than 120,600, 120,300. It's pretty amazing, actually. And then on top of that, we also have access to another glyph, which I also don't have leveled up yet. I got so many characters. And this is the poisoning damage effects last 40% times longer. So this basically means that the duration, which is currently 5 seconds, is going to be increased by that 40% times. I'm not exactly sure how much that gives you precisely, but when you increase the duration of a poison in Diablo 4, what happens is the poison damage doesn't get stretched along the duration, it gets stacked. So like, say for instance, you took a ability that does 120,300, right? And then you double it, because of course you got your Bane glyph, so 240,600, and it's over 5 seconds, so you can divide that by 5, and that'll get you a damage output of 48,120 per second. Now, of course, if you increase that to 6 seconds, what's going to happen is you're just going to simply add another 48,120 to the total. So you're just going to go 240,600 plus 48,120. And then you're going to get 288,720, and so forth and so on. And of course, you can also have other bonuses that are going to apply to this. As a rogue, you can have bonuses like the Deadly Venom, which is 9% increased poisoning damage. You can also grab this one, which is the Critical Strikes with Poison Imbued skills, deal 75% increased poisoning damage, which is going to stack. Of course, all the poison damage bonuses are going to stack together. Now, this one might not necessarily apply to Andariel's Visage, but all the poisoning damage is basically applying to a target in tandem. So, like, for instance, if I'm using Andariel's Visage, and I throw on the poison imbuement, for instance, and I start attacking, as you can see, the poison number is 3.6 million right now. That's not just simply the poison damage from Andariel's. That's the poison damage from Andariel's, plus the poison damage from my poison imbuement, plus the poison damage that I have currently on my dagger, plus the poison damage that might be coming from like rain of arrows, and so forth and so on, and it all stacks up together to equal up to those nice big chunky boy numbers. Which, of course, we're going to increase even more to make them even higher. This particular item is definitely one of those items that is more specific and less generic, I feel like, because if you're not building poison, it's really just a life leech attack speed helmet. And while a life leech attack speed helmet is really nice, there are other helmets that you could potentially put in here that would have better effectiveness. Like, obviously, you could put Harlequin Crest in here. You could. There are definitely other attack speed helmets that you could put on your head as well, and to have better effects for your specific character. I do feel kind of bad for the druid on this though, because of course the druid can't have access to most of the helmets, being that they have the Vasily's Prayer and the Tempest Roar that they basically have to wear to activate those builds. And if you're doing one of those builds, you just don't get access to Andariel's Visage, which sucks. All in all, good changes to the item. I feel like they've made it more powerful and more, something that people are definitely going to, try to find. They're going to try and grab this specifically for the builds that they want to use. Was super excited when I got it. However, I got 3 of them, which is rather silly. Now, the graphic on these, which is also something that we can talk about just briefly, is the graphic is something that actually changes depending on what character looks at them. Now, some of the Mythic Uniques have the same graphic across every single character. However, other Mythic Uniques have a different graphic across different characters. And if I were to go on to, say, my Druid, he's got a hairy man chest because I took off his Tyraels. I only have 1 Tyraels. They get swapped between all the characters, so his hairy man chest is just going to have to show. But for instance, if you take a look at Andariel's with a Druid, you'll notice that it has a completely different look to it. It's not the same item at all. It has like antlers on it, and it's got like a bird beak or whatever. Like it's a completely different item look style than a lot of the others, which is weird, of course, because some of the items in the game, like Ashevarian Sphere of Lycander, the Harlequin Crest Shaco, the Tyraels, all have static, like meshes, and they all look the same across all characters. But the Andariel does not have its own static look to it, and it changes depending on the character that is holding it. Let me check the sorceress. I think it changes for her too. You can destroy these to get access to obviously the graphic, and like Shaco, you can have the Shaco graphic in your employ. But as you can see on the sorceress, now it looks like this, which is a like face covering, and it definitely seems to be one of the Uber uniques that tends to morph quite a bit depending on which character is currently wielding it. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining my videos, even when we're just talking about the Andariel's Visage. And as always, keep watching.